Rover friends. Did you know April 22nd is Earth Day? That's right. And the Rover vine is just bursting with activity and growth. So let's take a look as we celebrate Earth Day this week. For starters, check out this tomato plant welcoming you right at the gate. This plant is covered in hundreds of tomatoes waiting to ripen. Just covered. It's pretty amazing. Tomatoes everywhere. Let's take a walk inside and see what else is happening. The garden currently has over 30 different plants, which is really fun to check out. Here's our herb bed with some nasturtiums. This plant is very edible. The leaf, the flower, and the seeds are all edible. A spicy taste to them. What a fun one to try. We also have some beautiful mint and some lavender back here. In this bed you can see sunflowers, lots and lots of sunflowers in the garden. These are some larger tomatoes, not the smaller cherry tomatoes. These are two tomato plants with some larger tomatoes on them. And next to them is this beautiful salvia. The hummingbird loves this plant. If you're here and you see the hummingbird, it'll probably be over on the salvia. One of our hollyhocks just opened up. It's a really pretty red. And I think the one next to it is going to be a lighter shade of pink. We have some Laura. Little tiny basil seedlings starting to grow. Calendula, another edible flower. Some more tomatoes. Here's an artichoke, one of two artichoke plants in the garden. And we have a bunch of squash, zucchini growing in the garden. This variety is the Black Beauty squash. And right next to it is this big plant. This is arugula. And we've let it go to seed because you'll notice it's covered in little seed pods. And this seed can be harvested right out of these pods once they dry out. Now I notice a lot of birds have been on this plant because they're hungry for the seed too. Down here is a tomatillo plant which is starting to flower. Some lettuce. We still have carrots going, and you'll see lots of cucumbers. They like the heat, so they're starting to take off. That'll climb this trellis. This is all carrots and calendula. As we make our way down to more squash, you can see the flower. It's opening up usually in the morning. This pretty plant is Queen Anne's lace. And next to it we have a different kind of pepper. That's a shishito pepper. More cherry tomatoes. And here is a crookneck squash starting to grow. You can see it's actually fruited and starting to grow there, which is cool. Some serrano peppers behind it. Another squash. And here's another artichoke right next to our scarecrow. And then heading over we have some chamomile that's still hanging on, and our rosemary. That's a tough plant that can withstand a lot of weather. Okay, look at this tomato. Now this is a different kind of small tomato. This is a yellow pear, but again, same story. Covered in tomatoes. That will ripen soon here. Just coming into the best part of tomato season. Next to that's this beautiful pink flower. This is Mexican primrose. And you can see it's starting to climb this hollyhock, which is also blooming. And over here, one of our summer plants, okra, is getting ready to grow, just sprouted. And right next to that, friends, we have some corn. Our corn just popped up. So we have 2 areas of corn in the garden. These are called lunchbox peppers, little small peppers, all different colors. Our second trellis has a variety of things. A few snap peas are still growing here. We have some carrots left over. This seedling right here, these are mostly zinnias, which are a beautiful flower that likes the heat. We also have some sunflowers mixed in here, and it looks like maybe a couple cucumbers too. So that trellis is going to be busy soon. Another squash. This squash plant's looking great. That's another black beauty squash. And here you can see we have some jalapeno pepper plants. And you'll notice the fruit, that's fruit growing right on them, little drops of water on the bottom of the fruit we just watered. Beautiful jalapenos. Here's more of that nasturtium. And the last of the celery. The celery is pretty much finished, so that'll have to come out soon. And we're back to the beginning at that big tomato plant. One more thing I want to show you today is your compost. Now when we take plants out or we have edible food scraps, we can compost those to make new soil. And the compost is starting to fill up. Look at this. So this is going to need rotation. And you can see we pulled some borage plants out of there recently. You can also see some edible food scraps there. So consider bringing your food scraps down to the Rover compost if you want to contribute to helping make soil for the garden. Have a wonderful Earth Day. Stay well. Goodbye.